Cape Cod Broadcasting weaves the listening environments of 99.9 WQRC, Ocean 104.7, WFCC Classical 107.5, Cape Country 104, and CapeCon.com's website experience to reflect the lifestyles of the people who live, work, and play on Cape Cod. We hope that you enjoy this podcast.
I'm Matt McCarthy, and this is Sunday Journal. Well, the Cape Cod Baseball League is a summer staple on the Cape. In fact, it could be argued that Major League Baseball players are Cape Cod's largest export. About 1/6 of the players in the major leagues have played in the Cape League during college, and that's an increasingly impressive statistic considering the large international influence on our national pastime. I'm joined this morning by Judy Walden-Scarafile, the president of the Cape League, and John Garner. He's the director of public relations and broadcasting. Thank you so much for joining me, and a happy baseball season to you both.
Thanks, Matt.
Thank you, Matt.
So this must be, of course, a very exciting time of year with the season kicking off on Wednesday night. You must be so excited to have the Cape League back and in action starting this week.
Especially after the long, cold, wet winter we had, it's great to have baseball right around the corner. And of course, we're all in the somewhat crazy mode of getting all those last-minute details done, but can't wait for Wednesday.
Well, the Cape League, of course, is such a big part of baseball in our country's history. 130 years, is this right? The 130th season of the Cape League?
We do celebrate that. We actually trace our history back even a little bit more to the Union soldiers coming back from the Civil War, and every town had a 4th of July celebration after the Civil War, and baseball became a major part of that. So there's actually a poster in Cooperstown, a game between, I believe it's Barnstable and Sandwich. And that was an 1885 poster, so we say that's our original part of it. The league really came together in 1923, a 6-team league, and then you had an upper and a lower division for many, many years. Then it all came together when it was sanctioned by the NCAA in 1963.
Well, it's safe to say that the Cape League is so prestigious. It's one of the most, frankly, the most historic and most prestigious collegiate summer league in the country. Now, the best players in the country come to the Cape every year. The best collegiate players come to play on the Cape each summer, so fans really do get a taste of big-time ball just in their backyard.
No question, Matt. They come from as far away as Stanford, UCLA, USC, and as close by as Boston College or UMass Dartmouth sometimes. And that's what the great thing about the tryout that we had in Wareham last week. Some of these Division II or III players, or maybe not the players from the baseball super conferences, get a chance to come in and play at least for a couple of weeks as temporary players, while a lot of our top players are involved in the super regionals and the College World Series.
And John, you mentioned that tryout that you had just this past week. And a couple of those players have been signed, and they will be playing on the Cape League this summer. That's correct?
In fact, I believe Wareham, the Gateman, had 3 players signed out of that tryout, and it's kind of interesting because that's where the tryout was hosted. And so Tom must have been the fastest runner to get the players. But and those guys fill a hole, and there may be a few more that are signed this week after the fact. That sometimes happens as well, as players look at their roster, see who's here and who's not here.
So 10 clubs, they stretch from Wareham to Orleans, truly hometown teams, 100% locally operated by volunteers who were involved simply just because they love Cape League baseball.
Yes, we brag that we are run by 200 volunteers, and without the volunteers and the host families who play such a large role in the Cape League experience, without all of them, we really wouldn't have a league.
Well, and it's important to remember that the Cape League is not for profit, so the games as a result are free, which is one of the real draws of the league as well.
Yeah, no question. We get a lot of our money from the league does, from corporate support, fundraising, like some of the events that we had at the Chatham Bars Inn during the offseason, which were tremendously attended. And we were able to bring the 3 World Series trophies down from the Red Sox, and Dr. Charles Steinberg came as a featured speaker, and we did very well at that, and it worked out very well.
Now, the teams all raise funds in different ways, be it passing the hat at the games or 50-50 raffles, and you mentioned, the corporate sponsorships, which really help the Cape League operate as well. Do you have an idea of how much it costs to operate a Cape League team? And I'm sure each team is a little different, 10 teams, and they all operate a little differently. But do you have a general idea as to how much it costs these organizations to run each year?
I sure do, because I think I live and breathe it every day. So there are really 11 different entities. There are 11 not-for-profit entities. So each team is its own 501c3, and the league is a 501c3. The league operating budget this year is $650,000. And with that money, The league provides the umpires, the bats, the balls, publications, insurance, buses, etc. for the teams. The teams' budgets run between $150,000 and $300,000. And that's really what it costs to field a team. And at the end of the season, come September 1, the money's gone, and we start all over again.
And almost all of that money, when it comes to the teams, that comes from pretty much individual fundraising? Is that where the majority of it comes from?
Well, again, there's corporate sponsorship on the league level, and there's corporate sponsorship on the team level. So on that franchise level, they're out doing the same thing that the league is doing, only we try to leave the local businesses for the teams to get as sponsors. And then they do different fundraising events in the off season, and merchandise sales and shopping carts on the internet. All of it plays a role.
Well, you mentioned the local aspect of the Cape League. The players who come here to the Cape, they live on the Cape. They live with host families. They're so involved in the Cape community. That's really a big part of what the Cape League is about, correct?
It is, and many teams, actually, because we start before school is out, so our season opens up on Wednesday, June 11th, and many of the teams have players go into the schools the last couple of weeks of school and either read to kids in a reading program or go to the library and have some kind of a program there.
Yeah, and they live with host families. I'm wondering if you could talk a little bit about the host family program. These players come in from all over the country. John, as you said, they come from as far as UCLA. I mean, there have been players from Hawaii, players from all over the country.
Colton Wong was one of them, right?
Yes, a budding star for the St. Louis Cardinals. These players come from all over the country, and they come to the Cape, and they live with the host families. And I'm wondering if you could talk about what that experience is like for the families and for the players.
It's a great experience for both. In fact, it's funny. It goes full circle sometimes. We've had several players, including Jason Varitek, formerly with the Red Sox, that had his house parent, Kelly King, I believe, actually speak for him, was the presenter and when he was inducted into the Hall of Fame back in 2002. So that's how much he thought of her. We have people that go to weddings. I know the McKiernans went to Justin Masterson's wedding a few years ago, and they see them at games when they come into play. And it's a relationship that may go on a lifetime just from that 6 or 8 week experience that they have while they're on the Cape.
So not only is it a personal connection for fans and for families with the players, I mean, these are extraordinarily talented players. John, you just alluded to it. Colton Wong, recently named National League Rookie of the Month, and also another Cape League player, George Springer, named American League Rookie of the Month. So, I mean, talent is there.
It's great. We don't get that every month, but it's nice to have two recent Cape League alumni, because I think both of them played within the past 4 years. And I remember doing a game in Wareham when Springer hit a ball and it went out about 2 seconds. Tremendous raw power. UConn played for Wareham. Wong played for Orleans. He was a middle infielder, a second baseman, and I think he was a league MVP that year as well. So we've had some tremendous players over the years, both recently and as far back as the turn of the first century there, the 19th century, 20th century.
We're talking with John Garner. He is the Director of Public Relations and Broadcasting for the Cape Cod Baseball League. Also joining us this morning, Judy Walden-Scarafile, the president of the Cape League. The Cape League starting up on Wednesday, and fans are certainly excited about that. Interns, such a huge part of the Cape League. College students from all across the country, come to work. And it's not just the players who travel from all across the country. It's college students who want to, maybe work in baseball or work in, behind the scenes, administratively, broadcasting, you name it.
Each team has anywhere from 5 to 30 interns that come across the country, like you said, Matt. And the broadcasting portion is the one that's grown the most. I mean, I remember the first year we had 3 teams. I think it was Hyannis, Wareham, and Chatham that did a few games, and by the next year, all 10 teams are doing it. Now the league has provided camera equipment, so they're doing not only broadcasts but webcasts, so the parents at home or the coaches can watch these games live on their computer. And what a great thing for them, and what a great experience it is for these broadcasters. We have a broadcast committee meeting next Monday, actually tomorrow, at the JFK Hyannis Museum, which houses our Hall of Fame, and it's going to be upstairs, and we're going to have anywhere from 80 to 100 people there at the game.
And talking about the broadcast element, I know some national broadcasts have been picked up over the past few years. Is that the same this year?
Yeah, actually, last year we signed a 3-year contract with Fox Sports TV, and they broadcast 9 games last year, including the AllStar Game. So we're in the second year of that contract this year. We're really excited about it. The professionalism is as you would expect for national TV. It was just phenomenal to work with this crew.
And are you seeing about 9 games this year? Do you know how many games they'll be calling this year as well?
It will be a 9-game package again, so it's the AllStar Game, which is, we should talk about, July 27th in Bourne at Doran Park. And Fox TV will be broadcasting that game as well as NPR Radio.
Yes.
And then Fox will do 8 regular season games in the month of July.
Yeah, they're going to be doing a Wednesday, Thursday schedule, so they'll bring the truck down here, and it stays overnight, and that's the best way for them to do it. And each team will, be hosting games, and every team will be in the game.
And, John, I'm wondering if you could just talk about for a second, you have the national broadcast, but every single Cape League game can be heard online, is that correct?
Correct.
And those are broadcast individually from the team's broadcast?
That is correct, and you can actually access them from the Cape League website, which is www.capecodbaseball.org. And then you just click on to that team icon.
Are those interns? Are they professional broadcasters? Is it a mix of both with each team? Does it vary from team to team?
Almost every one of them are college broadcasters. So they're the same age as the players. A very, very similar situation to the players coming to the Cape. And that's always a challenge for them to find housing as well.
Judy, you had mentioned the Cape League AllStar Game, which is going to be a part of the big 100th anniversary of the opening of the Cape Cod Canal. The Bourne Braves will be hosting it at Doran Park, just, a hop, skip, and a jump from the Bourne Bridge and the canal. So that should be very exciting to be a part of that big weekend celebrating the 100th anniversary of the canal.
It is very exciting, and we're co-sponsoring the weekend and co-branding it with the Chamber of Commerce and the Board of Trade in Bourne, and encouraging people to take part in all the events. This is actually the reason we moved the game from Saturday to Sunday, is because there literally were so many things going on. The security and police available for our event weren't there for Saturday because they were all committed.
Well, not to mention the traffic. If you've ever tried to leave Doran Park after a Bourne Braves game, it can be a little tricky getting out of there.
So it's, security is a very important part of our game, and we felt if we moved it to Sunday, it would be a good try. Let's give it a shot and see what a Sunday's like.
Well, it should be fun to have that along the canal for the 100th anniversary. So that's once again this July, the Cape League All-Star Game. And today, the first pitch brunch, moving back to the month of June. You have your first pitch brunch going on in just a few hours here.
That's right. Actually, just a few minutes, depending on which radio station you're listening to right now. But we'll be announcing our Hall of Fame class for 2014. It will be our 15th induction class, which we're very excited about. We've got a major leaguer in there as well that played here locally on the Cape in the summertime, and some other great players that played over the years. And we think it's a great class. And we're also got a big announcement, the fact that 60 Minutes Sports will be coming in here and doing they'll be here for a week filming, and they're going to do a segment in the fall, either in late September or early October on the Cape League. So we're very pleased about that. It seems like every year we have one major thing. Like last year, we had a full-page spread in the New York Times. That particular day, there was 2 pages in sports in the New York Times. We had 1 page, and the rest of the world had the other. That was kind of nice.
You mentioned that Hall of Fame class. You don't have to give me details, but how many members of this year's Hall of Fame class will you have?
5.
5 members.
That's correct.
And they will be honored at the Cape League Museum at the JFK
actually,
Museum?
Yes, it's a combination. It's the middle of November, and we actually have a Friday event where they and their families and our committee go over to Alberto's Restaurante and have dinner, and then we do a plaque unveiling inside the JFK Highness Museum at the baseball exhibit. And then the next day, they actually have the induction ceremony and a big brunch in the morning at the Chatham Bars Inn.
Now, notable Cape League Hall of Famers, John?
Over the years, Thurman Munson, former captain of the New York Yankees, Buck Showalter, who hit .434 for Hyannis here before he became a manager. He was the manager of the year a couple of years ago with the Baltimore Orioles. And the person to my left, Judy Walden-Scarafile, was inducted in 2004, Judy, right? 2003, actually.
Now, Judy, you started out, is it my understanding that you started out in the Cape League as an intern?
No.
No?
Interns didn't exist then. I mean, it's true. I started out in 1970, and there was no word intern in the Cape League. It didn't exist. So I started out as an official scorer, and actually Dick Bresciani, who's been with the Red Sox for 42 years, is the one who hired $15 a game. brought me here to be an official scorer. But I was low person on the totem pole, and I got a lot of games with a lot of distance to travel. But anyway, so 44 years later, I'm still here.
Well, another Cape League success story. I mean, from players to interns to executives to administrators. I mean, across the board, the Cape League has produced so many important people in the world of sports and in baseball and just in general. So that must be something.
Matt, I wanted to mention was Andrew Miller, who is a part of the Red Sox. Yes. He was just inducted last year, and what a delightful young man he was.
A dominant Cape League pitcher as well.
One of the best we've ever seen. I think he was 8-0 over 2 seasons with Chatham, and one of the best left-handers we've ever had in the league. And
he's turned into a very good pitcher for the Red Sox out of the bullpen, too. Just another Cape League success story. As we move towards wrapping this up, is there anything that you wanted to address going into this season that you're really particularly excited about? I mean, besides opening night, which is on Wednesday, and that's always a great night, is there anything that you're really looking forward to moving into this year?
I would say so. I'll segue into it. We have over the last 20 years, I believe, Judy has worn the 2 hats as Cape League president, overseeing all of our external operations, as well as our director of corporate development. And now she's working with a gentleman from the local area that's taken over.
Bill Boosie, who has 22 years of experience in the Cape League, I think 18 with the Hyannis Mets at that time, and then he's been a VP in the Cape League for the past 4 years. So Bill, after we reviewed 64 applications, Bill got the nod, and he is the person for the job. He's doing a phenomenal job, and it's great to work with him as our new corporate development director, and I can't think of anyone that I've met who could have been a better fit for this job.
Well, an exciting season coming up for the Cape League, that's for sure. The 130th year of the Cape Cod Baseball League. It starts on Wednesday with opening nights. John, where are the opening games being played? All the teams are playing, it's my understanding, on opening night. So five home games for teams on Wednesday.
Yeah, the games on the 11th on Wednesday are Falmouth at Brewster at 5, Wareham at Bourne at 6, Cotuit at Hyannis at 6, and then YD at Harwich at 7, and Chatham at Orleans at 7 o'clock.
And the season starts on Wednesday and runs through mid-August. Mid-August, is that when the championship?
With the playoffs.
With
that's
the playoffs.
Correct. Yeah,
and eight teams make the playoffs.
Usually around, we've got it listed around the 15th of August, somewhere between the 13th and 15th of August, depending on rain dates.
Well, let's hope for a very sunny summer and a very successful summer for you with the Cape League. Judy Walden-Scarafile and John Garner from the Cape League, thank you so much for joining us here on Sunday Journal, and have a great baseball season.
Thank you very much. Thank you, Matt.
I'm Matt McCarthy, and this is Sunday Journal.
This podcast is a presentation of Cape Cod Broadcasting, which is solely responsible for its content. Thank you for listening. For more information, please visit us at capecodbroadcasting.com.